The British Empire wasn't built on fair trade or hard work alone. Let's be honest. This empire grew through outright theft, and not small-scale theft, but state-backed worldwide piracy. In the 16th and 17th centuries, England literally hired pirates. They gave them a fancy name, privateers. But the result was the same: pirates stealing on behalf of the state. Pirates who stopped Spanish ships loaded with gold and silver, looted them, burned cities, and shipped the stolen wealth back to England. And this wealth didn't just fill pockets. It turned England from a weak island nation into one of the greatest empires in history. Think of the late 1500s. Who ruled the world then? Spain and Portugal. They had conquered the Americas and were shipping galleons full of silver, gold, spices, sugar, and slaves. This wealth kept Spain alive through wars and palaces. And England, weak, poor, crushed under Spain's shadow. Queen Elizabeth didn't have the power to challenge Spain, but she had another plan. If we can't produce it, we'll steal it. This led to the creation of letters of marque, special licenses that allowed pirates to openly attack Spanish ships. The loot was divided. Everyone, including the Queen, took a cut. In other words, piracy had become official state policy. Now let's talk about the most famous name, Francis Drake. Schools call him an explorer, but in reality his world tour was a giant robbery route. He set off in 1577. On paper he was exploring, but the real mission was to find Spanish treasure, and he did. In 1579 he intercepted a huge treasure ship called Cacafuego. It was packed with silver, gold, jewels, and valuable cloth. The loot was so massive that Drake's men spent 6 days unloading it. Historians estimate it would be worth about $40 million today. When Drake returned, only one of his ships had survived, but the wealth he brought back delivered a 4,700% profit. Queen Elizabeth used her share to pay off the national debt, then knighted Drake on the deck of his ship. That's how piracy was rebranded as patriotism. Then came Henry Morgan. In 1671, he attacked Panama. With 200 men, he destroyed the city and took all its wealth, even though it was technically peacetime. You'd think he'd be punished, right? Nope. He was taken to London, rewarded, knighted, and then sent back to Jamaica as deputy governor. A polite way of saying, "Well done, Morgan, you served the empire." What made English piracy unique was how organized it was. The state gave permission. Nobles and merchants invested. Captains organized expeditions. And the loot was split like dividends. Investing in a privateering expedition back then was the equivalent of investing in a startup today. As a result, Spain weakened and England grew stronger. The plunder flowed into the English economy, the navy expanded, and trade increased. In short, England turned piracy into capital and used it to build an empire. Over time, piracy started to look too crude, so a more polished model emerged: the East India Company. This time, piracy was done under the name of trade, a company empowered to wage war, collect taxes, and seize territory. The only difference was the uniforms. The logic stayed the same. Extract wealth from others, bring it home, and call it progress. Today, the methods have changed, but the system hasn't. Back then, there were pirates, then colonial companies, now multinational corporations, hedge funds, and financial giants. Governments still outsource dirty work. Back then, it was pirates. Today, it's private military contractors. Back then, loot was hidden through secret agreements. Today, it's offshore tax havens. Back then, Spanish ships were sunk. Today, financial systems are crashed, sanctions imposed, cyber attacks launched. Faces change, methods change, but power works the same way. And here's the personal part. If even the most celebrated empire in history rose through theft, expecting today's system to be different is naive. If states need money, they change the rules. They ban gold, freeze your money, or drain your savings through inflation. Don't forget, Queen Elizabeth paid her debt with pirate loot. That's not morality, that's power. And power uses whatever tool it needs. Real wealth is what the system can't alter. Skills, knowledge, independent assets. Because the rules are always rewritten in favor of the powerful. In the 16th century, piracy was policy. In the 17th, gold ownership was banned in America. In the 18th, inflation silently steals wealth. The tools change, the goal doesn't. The British Empire didn't rise by playing fair. It rose by turning money and power into weapons, turning pirates into heroes, and stolen treasure into imperial capital. And history still whispers the same warning. When governments need money, they always have their pirates. Sometimes they sail ships, sometimes they run banks, but the cost is always paid by ordinary people. If this gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. History has already written the answers. I'm just showing you where to look.